Hi and welcome to this screencast that's going to take the place of our class on Tuesday, November the 3rd. As part of your blended Tuesday here. You have hopefully already completed the first part of your assignment for this Tuesday, and that's the real estate ad in either Sparta or Athens. And this screencast is going to be a little bit different from some of the other screencasts we've done. And instead of typing on the screen this time, I'm going to go through a PowerPoint with you, and I encourage you to pay close attention and take good notes and try to speak as slowly as possible. And I would like for you to take down notes in addition to the terms that are on the PowerPoint. So just don't write down the PowerPoint terms, but instead try to focus in on what I'm talking about. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can certainly write those down. But remember, you can always go back and rewind and replay anything that might be unclear to you. So this is chapter 5, section 2, as you can see. And these are the Greco-Persian Wars that we are going to talk about. So I'm going to run this slideshow here, and I'm going to narrate it as we go through it. So again, Greco-Persian Wars, Chapter 5, Section 2. And one of the things that we need to be aware of on the outset of this is that the years 500 roughly to 338 BCE are the high point of Greek civilization. We've looked at some of the preliminary developments here in Sparta and in Athens during the last few days. But 500 to 338, so roughly 150 years, is when Athens and Greece in general just really hits its stride and becomes one of the greatest civilizations of all time. This is why Greece is such a famous civilization. One of the reasons why they were so successful and why they're so famous is the fact that they were influential in many different aspects of society. It wasn't just politics. We looked at the development of democracy in Athens the other day, but it was in philosophy, in drama, in art, in architecture. There was all these different areas in society. Pretty much everywhere you can think of in a society, the Greeks were advancing the society at the time, and they really helped to develop new ways of thinking about all different aspects of society. That's one of the reasons why the Greeks have been studied so much and why they are so well known. So moving on to the next slide, one of the things here that really helped to usher in this golden age for Greece is the fact that the Greeks were able to defeat Persia in a number of different conflicts that start around 500. And as you might remember from our discussion the other day, the Athenians sent out a number of people to kind of deal with the overpopulation to colonize other land. A few of those Greeks ended up in a place called Ionia, and that's the first term here, the Ionian Greeks. The only problem was that when Cyrus the Great, that we've talked about so much in the last chapter, when he started to develop his empire and when he started to conquer his territory, he took control of these Ionian Greeks. So they were no longer independent. Instead, they were under Persian control. And as you should know by now, to be under Cyrus's control was really not that bad, but still these Ionian Greeks, of course, were not Persians. They wanted their own independence. So in 499 BCE, these Ionian Greeks revolted, and they rose up against the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire at this time was controlled by Darius. Again, we talked a lot about Darius. This is Darius I, the grandson of Cyrus. And Darius defeated this revolt pretty easily. And one of the conclusions that Darius drew here is that the Greeks are kind of on the rise here. They're getting stronger and stronger. We, the Persians, better attack the Greeks before they get too strong. So in 490 BCE, the Persians attack Athens. They come with a huge army, and they try to catch the Athenians and all the other Greeks kind of off guard here before they become too strong, so that they will constitute a threat to the Persians. And in 490, outside of Athens, the Greeks and the Persian forces meet at a first battle. That's the Battle of Marathon. And to everyone's surprise, the Greeks actually won this battle. This was not something that was expected, but the Greeks relied heavily on the Spartans. We talked about the Spartans today on Monday, and the Greeks relied heavily on the fighting force of the Spartans to defeat the Persians. And you might have heard of the story of the messenger Peidipides, this guy right here, who, after the Greeks won at Marathon, ran all the way back to the assembly in Athens, and that's a distance of 26.2 miles, and he allegedly went in front of the assembly and said, "Victory is ours," and then he collapsed and died. And again, this is discussing the Battle of Marathon and describing what happened in the Battle of Marathon. And this is, of course, why today millions and millions of people every year, every month, run marathons to honor Peidipides and his message of victory for the Greeks. So the Persians, though, did not give up. Darius, as you might remember, passed away in 486 BCE, but his son Xerxes, that's Xerxes right there, was determined to wipe out the Greeks. He said, "We need to get rid of these Greeks. They're pestering us. They're annoying us. They're getting stronger and stronger. We need to wipe them out once and for all." So in 480 BCE, the Persians again attacked the Greeks, and the Persians were very, very successful at first, and eventually in 479 BCE, the Greeks and the Persians met at the Battle of Thermopylae. This battle right here, Thermopylae, and this is in 479 BCE. And this is the famous battle we were talking about in class today, where eventually there are only 300 Spartans left, and they're fighting this army of 10,000 Persians. And for the first 4 days, the Spartans were able to kind of hold their ground and not give in to this massive force that Xerxes had attacking them. Unfortunately for the Spartans, though, there was a Spartan traitor who snuck over to the Persian side, and he advised them of a secret way in which the Persian army, or parts of the Persian army, could walk around the Spartan forces and then attack them both from behind the Spartan forces and in front of the Spartan forces. So they kind of attacked them from two fronts. That proved to be too much even for the Spartans, and the Persians moved on and eventually in that year, 479, burned Athens. They burned Athens pretty much to the ground. So at this point, it obviously looks like the Persians are about to win the war here. But as we'll see here, the Greeks were very, very clever here. And what the Greek leaders did is that they told the population of Athens, when they realized that the Persians were attacking their city, to flee. So most of the Greeks fled from the city of Athens. They left their homes and they fled out into the countryside. And what the Greeks did is that they put together, they've been building this army for the past 20 years. And alongside that army, they had also built a navy. So what the Greeks did is that they basically tricked the Persians into sailing their navy in towards Athens. And then the Greeks, the Athenians, basically ambushed. That means that they were lying in hiding. And right outside Athens, at a port called Salamis, the Greeks surprised the Persians and basically crushed their army. So that's at Salamis in 479 BCE. These were some great Greek tactics here. And again, the Spartans were the ones kind of leading the charge. They were, as we know, very, very good military warriors. This battle of Salamis here in 479 BC is the turning point of the war. And then just a few months later, the Greeks gathered up every single force they had. They basically brought every man from Sparta, from Corinth, from Thebes, from Athens, from all corners of Greece, brought them together and attacked the Persians at a town called Plataea. And the Greeks pretty much crushed the Persians at the Battle of Plataea. This is also in 479 BCE. So this war that went on for basically 20 years eventually ended with a Greek victory. And the importance of this victory is that the Greeks now no longer had to worry about the Persians. The Persians were still right next door. They were neighbors with the Greeks, but from here on out, the Persians will not bother the Greeks. This is kind of a very severe setback for the Persians. So the Greeks could, instead of having to worry about defending themselves against the Persians, could develop all their energy, all their resources, all their money, all their time to developing their politics, their art, their architecture, their poetry, their drama, their philosophy, and all these things that Greece is so famous for. So without this victory against Persia, the Greeks would in all likelihood not have reached this golden age that they had. So that's why these Greco-Persian Wars are so important. That's the end of this little screencast. Hopefully all of this made sense to you. If you have any questions, write those down and I'll be more than happy to answer those in class on Wednesday. And I wish you a great rest of your Tuesday.